10 years to our Chabad house. 10 years of all the great things that's happening in our Chabad house. So nice to see each and every one of you. Exactly 80 years ago from today, there was a famous rabbi, Rabbi Moshe Chaim, was killed exactly 80 years ago tonight. Young man, 50 years old, by the Nazis in Treblinka. Very important rabbi, he and his wife and big part of his family. Only a young child, a son, Lulik, survived. He was the youngest child in Buchenwald and was liberated by the American soldiers. Only 7 years old with no family. Tonight, in a moment, we will welcome to our great celebration of 10 years to our beautiful Chabad house. We're going to welcome his grandson, the chief rabbi of Israel, the son of Lulik, exactly 80 years after his grandfather was killed by the Nazis who thought to destroy the Jewish future. Here we have the chief rabbi of Israel celebrating the Jewish future. This is not just another celebration of another organization. This is not a celebration of another shul or a synagogue. This is the future of the Jewish people right here. As we are celebrating tonight 10 years, I got a phone call from a local reporter. He asked many questions about our Chabad house. How many members do we have? Who funds us? What's the answer? You guys. He wanted to know, when did I meet Rivki? We'll leave it for another time. But one of the questions that he asked, and I didn't think about it before. I told him I need a few days. He asked me, now we're celebrating 10 years. So many achievements. What is your dream in 10 years from now? Anybody has a suggestion? Somebody said a bigger building, God willing. I was thinking based on the teaching of our Rebbe. Our goal is very simple. Our goal in 10 years from now and maybe a year from now, that there will be no Jew in our community, no Jewish family in the greater Yulit area who will not feel that the Chabad house of Yulit is their home away from home. We should be for every single Jew, no matter if we have 1,000 people on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, no matter if we have so many people come throughout the year, the high school, the Jewish Kids Club, etc. Our goal is to ensure the Jewish future. So if today, 80 years ago, was Nazis who were looking for every Jew to kill and to say there's no future for the Jewish people, here tonight we say we have the future of the Jewish people. And please everybody rise as we welcome in the Chief Rabbi of Israel, Rabbi David Lau.
Shalom, oy chayim, oy chayim, ve shalom.
may be seated. So while we welcoming everybody, I ask the crowd, how is the food? Tell me, how is the food? Great. How is the l'chaim? How is everything? Is great. But
welcome to Chabad of Hewlett's Gala Dinner. Thank you for joining us in celebration of our incredible community. A celebration of unity. A celebration of growth. A celebration of the countless achievements of the past. And a celebration of the endless potential for the future. Mazel Tov, l'chaim.
there's not much to say besides l'chaim. Hinei matov u'manaim shevet achim gam yachad. No words needed to express our gratitude to the Almighty God, to Hashem, and all the accomplishment of our community in Torah and mitzvot and maasim tovim. Mazel tov to all the honorees. We have a beautiful program, but there's something special tonight. Tonight is our daughter Chaya's birthday, and in the honor of our birthday, she's gonna recite chapter of Tehillim, chapter 121, Shir LaMa'alot Esainai. She will have in mind all of us who need special blessing. We'll have in mind those who need special blessing for health, for success, and for nachas. Chaya, you ready?
Shir LaMa'alot Esainai L'Haramei Ayin Yafei Ezri Me'im Matanei Ez Shemaim V'Aretz A'itin L'Metir Kalcha Al Yernam Shem Racha Hinei La Yernam V'La Yishem Shemer Yisrael Atene Shem Racha Atene Tzilcha Al Yati Minacha Yemam HaShemesh La Yakekab V'Yarech Balayla Atene Yishmer Chamikol Ra Yishmer Es Nafshacha Atene Yishmer Tzizcha U'Barecha Me'atza Ve'atela.
Thank you, Chaya.
As we continue the program, just going to take a few coins and put them in tzedakah. As the Lubavitcher Rebbe always encouraged, when two Jews meet, it should benefit a third. Tonight, we are, thank God, many Jews together, celebrating together, and let's make sure that we all benefit and more.
So, Rivki and myself prepare for you an interesting video. Enjoy.
To the most of us, 1606 Hewlett Avenue does not mean a lot, but for Rivki and myself, and I think for our entire community, really, this place is a very special place.
It's the beginning where we first started the Chabad House, where we first realized that there's the need for the Chabad House of Hewlett. I remember coming outside to play with the kids, and we would meet other Jewish neighbors who were really yearning and needing an affiliation to feel like they belong to somewhere. And we're so happy to belong to the Chabad House of Hewlett, to be part of the Chabad House of Hewlett. It's where we had our first high holiday service, where we waited for the 10th man to the minyan, where we had our son's bris, and where we had the first Hanukkah party in the community.
There's many good memories from this place that, as Rivki said, contains so much of our fierce activities. And who would dream back then that we'll grow and we'll grow, but that's where everything began.
Where it all began. Welcome to our second stop along road, 73 Princeton Avenue, where we hosted our big red sukkah for many Jewish people from the community, many families came to join us for the holiday of Sukkot. We were able to sit 80 people on our sukkah, the red brick sukkah that we all loved, enjoyed, ate, sang, said l'chaim together.
Of course, the Shabbos meal. We had throughout the years hundreds of families who celebrate right here their Shabbat dinner, obviously enjoying Rivki's delicious food.
Many challah bakes inside our home. Many women lit Shabbos candles inside of our little home. Many girls lit Shabbos candles for the first time inside of our little home. And many men put on tefillin in our little home.
And many Torah classes and celebrations. We had baby naming and much more throughout
Throughout
many
the years that we were here.
And this we always going to remember as 73 Princeton, the second home to the Chabad of Yulet.
And here we are, the first place that we rented on Broadway for the Chabad House.
1160 Broadway. This is what many of you do remember as the Chabad on Broadway. It was a tiny storefront, and miraculously we were able to host the classes, services, a bris, a bar mitzvah, the first bar mitzvah that we had.
We had women classes. We even managed to have a challah bake in here.
We had the Torah dedication, the beginning of the Yulet Torah dedication was right over here. It was one entrance over here and one entrance right over here, but a very small, very, very small Chabad house, but powerful. There was just a year after we started the Chabad house, and
we were
we
here
are.
for less than a year.
Less than a year, took us, gave us, and we saw as the crowd is keep growing and growing and growing. So for the high holidays, we rented this store right next door to the Dunkin' Donuts, thinking that will be big enough for our high holidays crowd. Very quick we realized that at the Chabad house, every day is a holiday. So the place was really full. Then we added another store. Here we started the Jewish Kids Club of Yulet that grew and grew. Here we had the high school kids coming, the prayers, the services. And we still could smell the coffee from Dunkin' Donuts still today. And it was a beautiful place for us to grow. But in a very short time, even this big storefront was too small. And this is the story of the Chabad house right next to the Dunkin' Donuts and the firehouse. We were looking for a place that will hold all the hundreds of people who came to our events. We find this beautiful place in Yulet Bay Park where we were renting for all the holidays, the Shavuot, ice cream party, the high holidays, of course, Simchat Torah, Purim, and many other events. A place that we were able to get everybody to have a room and to celebrate the holidays together. As COVID hit, we knew we're not giving up. The opposite. We have to get the community even bigger and stronger, safe. And this is how we came to this idea of having a high holiday services right over here under the gym, right in the center of Yulet. The place was full with hundreds and hundreds of people because the place is huge. It's huge, and people were able to be safe together but separate, and it was an amazing experience.
Where we had the outdoors and the fresh air, but the roof to protect us, and we had an awesome, inspiring high holiday season together, which brought us closer together as a community, and we were able to celebrate in a safe way the high holidays.
And even we had a kids program that we always, Rivki, focusing on the children, and this is something that the community will remember. We're all going to remember it forever. That, as a big rabbi used to say, when there's a will, there's a way. And as the community continued to grow and more people got involved, we moved to right here, 44 Everett Avenue, a beautiful house, beautiful backyard. You cannot see it because a short while right after, we saw that the community continued to grow, and more people getting involved, and all the beautiful things that took place right over here with the Russian Shabbat, the holidays, the kids program, and the high school kids. Endless of programs. The huge tent that we had was a time to build a real building, and this is where the building, God willing, will be very soon. Right here, as you can see, we are ready in the foundation and we are ready to grow. But meanwhile, let's see where we are temporary. So temporary, we moved just few houses down on 24 Everett, a temporary place with a big tent, many classrooms, where all the activities taking place while we are ready to build. As you all know, this is the home away from home. Very much looking forward to the big building, and meanwhile, join us at 24 Everett for all the Chabad House events.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mordechai, thank you. Shekach was beautiful. Thanks for singing for us. Thank you, everyone, for being with us tonight at this auspicious moment in the community of Hewlett. I can't believe it's 10 years already, and look at what has been accomplished, and look at what we plan to accomplish in the future. I'm honored and humbled this evening to introduce to you a true tzaddik of our generation and a very special individual. He comes from 38 generations of distinguished rabbis and Talmidei Chachamim. And in 2013, he was elected as the chief rabbi of Israel. So without further ado, I humbly present to you Rabbi Lau.
Rosh Yeshivos in Europe before the Holocaust named Rav Shimon Yehuda Cohen Shkop. Reb Shimon Shkop named. He was Rosh Yeshiva in Tels, in Bryansk, in Grodno, in Litvin, and his yahrzeit is tonight. I want to share you one point. 60 years he gave daily classes. He constantly and consistently given shiurim from the age of 20 until he passed away in the age of 80. He established a special way of learning, a way of analytical depth, striving to understand the core of the sugya in order to explain and understand the root of many concepts and ideas from the Torah. He wrote an important sefer, Sha'arei Yosher, the gates of clarity and honesty, where he discussed 7 gates with great clarity and logic. The yeshivot that he taught there were symbolic of intelligence and intelligence depth to understand and to know the Gemara. I want to tell you about one young child. He was around 13, 14 years old. He was born in US and he took decision he must learn in Reb Shimon Shkop Yeshiva. He went from his house in the United States. I spoke about the 13, I don't know exactly, 35, 36, 1935, 36, before Holocaust. He went from his house, he went by the boat, by the ship, he came from by the carriage, maybe buses, and he, after a long time, a few weeks, he arrived to the house of Reb Shimon. He knocked on his door and he asked to speak. I know that you are the Rosh Yeshiva, and please test me if I can be accepted to be your Talmid, to learn in your yeshiva. Reb Shimon smiled, invited him to sit on the chair, and asked him, "Are you ready to test?" "Yes, I'm ready. Every minute that I can, in the boat, in the ship, or in the car, I learn and again, and I feel that now I'm ready to test. Yes." And Reb Shimon asked him, one question. My first question will be, when did you eat something near the table? When it was the last time you eat something near the table? He thought, I can't understand. He thought, excuse me? Yes, I'm asking you. You are sitting here, but when it was the last time you eat something? When it was the last time you went to sleep on a bed, a simple bed, not on the bed, not on the ship, not on the carriage? When it was? And he said, it was a long time. I don't know exactly when. But it's not important for the test. Said Reb Shimon Shkop, no. It's the most important. I see you. Understand that you want to learn in my yeshiva. I see you and I understand that your heart and your head are open to learn. And I'm sure that you'll succeed in my yeshiva. But first of all, our Torah is Torah of life, Torah of chesed, Torah that we need to think about someone if he if he need to eat, to rest. This is a point that I want to ask you first of all. So please come with me to my kitchen. And Reb Shimon Shkop gave him to eat, invited him to sleep, and told him, tomorrow morning come to yeshiva and we find which level of class it's for you. Now I don't know exactly what. This boy passed all the Holocaust, from ghetto to ghetto, from camp to camp, and he said after the Holocaust that he's sure he survived because he has power. And what strengthens him to be with power? The smile and the warmly that the analyst person like Reb Shimon Shkop spoke with him and thought about a young man who want only to eat, only to rest, but this is that he need. And because of that, he said, I felt that I have a Jewish rules that I learned from my Rosh Yeshiva, and because of that, I'm sure that I survive, and this is the strength of him for all the years in the Holocaust. This is our Torah. And I think that after 10 years, I see you. I see the people that feels that the house of Rabbi and Rebbetzin Tenenbaum, Chabad house of Yolit, this is house of Torah, the real Torah. Torah with chesed, Torah with warmly, according to the Shulchan Aruch, according to Halacha. Don't move from the Halacha, but this is the Halacha. To smile, to hug someone, to give everyone opportunities to feel this is my house and this is your house. We saw in the movie that it was small house and second and third, but every place you can see the personality of Rabbi and Rebbetzin Tenenbaum. And every one of you are joined with the personality, with the warmly of this house, of those houses of Chabad here in Yolit. So I want to bless you, all of you, that you continue to be members of this building, that this building is not only stones, this building is heart of Jewish community, heart of Jewish chesed, and because of that, I'm sure that this is only the first 10 years. So a lot of successful, with a lot of happiness and healthy for all of us to see more 10 and 10 and 10 till the time that together we arrive to Yerushalayim with Mashiach Tzidkeinu b'meira Amen.
Like Susan, I lived in Brooklyn from the time I was born and brought up in a traditional Jewish home. Temple was optional except for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Preparing for my bar mitzvah was not an easy task. I would fake sleep on Sunday mornings so as to avoid attending Hebrew school. Eventually, I did manage to be bar mitzvah. It was important to my parents that they instill a Jewish identity in both my sister Brenda and myself. I believe they have accomplished that.
In 2006, Stacy and Larry were married. 2 years later, our grandson Benjamin Aaron was born. After Ben's birth, Stacy became seriously ill. This is when my journey into Judaism began. I started to light Shabbos candles, study Torah with a partner, and give tzedakah. I recited Tehillim and prayed at home. On alternate Fridays, I would sleep at my mother's house so that I could walk to shul on Shabbos, the same shul the men in my family had davened in. Ted had davened there as well after we married. On the Saturdays I spent at home, I went to a nearby temple in Hewlett. Then, in 2016, Ted and I attended a wedding in Florida. We went to Saturday services at a Chabad house. When the rabbi learned we were from Hewlett, he asked us to say hello to Rabbi Tenenbaum and Rivki when we returned home. We promised him we would. From the moment we entered the Chabad house of Hewlett for the very first time, we knew that this was where we wanted to be. The Chabad house of Hewlett has become our home away from home. Rabbi Tenenbaum and Rivki are always warm and welcoming. They are non-judgmental and accepting of every Jew, regardless of how observant or non-observant one may be. The Friday afternoon following the first time we attended Shabbat services at the Chabad house, there was a knock at the door. There stood Rabbi Tenenbaum with a freshly baked challah that Rivki had just made, still warm from the oven. I have participated in Rivki's challah bake since then. For some reason, my challahs never taste like hers. I attended Rivki's bas mitzvah classes and was successfully bas mitzvahed. Through the years, I have taken Rivki's Hebrew classes 3 times, a testament to the fact that it is difficult to learn a new language at my age. Rabbi Tenenbaum and Rivki never cease to amaze me. Their commitment and dedication to the Hewlett community are unparalleled.
When I came to the Chabad House of Hewlett for the first time, I was warmly welcomed by Rabbi Tenenbaum. I look forward to returning the following Shabbos. Soon I was attending Saturday service weekly and feeling more and more comfortable. Rabbi Tenenbaum would announce the pages in the Chumash and the Siddur, along with Richie, what page, and I found this most helpful. Each time he called me to the Torah for an aliyah, I was deeply honored. He would help me put on tefillin, never making me feel uncomfortable for not being able to do it myself. Rabbi Tenenbaum and Rivki strive to unite all Jews in the Hewlett community. I can remember the excitement I felt when lighting the flame for the community menorah several years ago. The completion of our new building will enable them to bring more Jews in our area together.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Susan and Ted Ballison to the stage. To call up our representative, please help me welcome Representative Clavin as he walks up to the stage. He is your representative for Hewlett. Big warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll be very, very brief and say congratulations to all the honorees tonight. Thank you for this wonderful honor. It is really a privilege to be here. I think that Chabad's done a tremendous job, and as you look forward to a beautiful new structure that's coming, the welcoming joy and happiness that you bring to this community and all of you've done here, I can't thank you enough for everything you do. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Aviad and this is my wife Eliana, along with our kids Shiley, Liam, Romy, and Lenny. I want to start off by thanking the rabbi and his family for giving us this honor, and most importantly for all they do in the community. The support you showed during the most difficult time in my life with my father passing was truly incredible and something I will never forget. Basi and Rivki, with your encouragement and warm welcome, you have motivated my family to attend shul regularly. The kids program you have created made attending shul fun and more enjoyable for the kids. The rabbi and his family do so much to keep the Jewish traditions alive. Being born in Israel, my family always kept the traditions of Judaism, but didn't fully observe. During Rosh Hashanah, when I first moved to the area, was my first encounter with the rabbi. Although we were not part of the Chabad family, the rabbi still came and knocked on my door to make sure we heard the shofar. Shortly after that, it was Yom Kippur, then Sukkot, and then Chanukah, and at each one of the holidays, there was a knock on my door to check in on us, to make sure we were involved. To me, that's the most special thing about Chabad and the rabbi. They treat everyone equally, regardless of their level of observance. That moment and countless others just like it brought me closer to Chabad, because I felt comfortable to be in the environment, and I'm sure everyone else feels the same. Acts of goodwill like that are contagious. It made me want to give back to the rabbi and the community. Last year during Hanukkah, the rabbi sent a picture of a menorah he received. It was the biggest menorah I've ever seen, but it had a little rust on it, to say the least. Fred, Avi, myself, and other members of the community jumped right on the opportunity to help make it the biggest golden menorah in just a few days. It was the best feeling to see the smile on the rabbi's face when we actually put it up. We couldn't stop taking pictures. I'm hoping that the way we got the menorah up will be the same way we get the new building up. I myself donated to the new building campaign because I know how much good it will do for the community, and I encourage everyone in this room to do so as well. As the rabbi always says, Michael l'chail, from strength to strength. Thank you, everyone.
Growing up on Long Island, I was involved in Jewish life. I went to a Jewish day school, but I was never fully invested. I was the kid who would show up late to Minyan or take long bathroom breaks because I didn't want to put on a talis or tefillin. One could say I was a little bit rebellious. I was always one to question authority, and that certainly applied to my Jewish life. It wasn't until I was convinced to go to Israel on a birthright trip during college that my interest in helping Israel and the Jewish people was sparked. As a congressional staffer and later as a campaign manager to Congressman Swazi, I worked very closely with Long Island's Jewish and pro-Israel leaders. Later on, as an area director for AIPAC, I married my passion for politics and pro-Israel activism into one. I raised millions of dollars for the pro-Israel movement, worked closely with pro-Israel lay leaders and activists, as well as educated members of Congress and their staff on the importance of the U.S.-Israel relationship. But, if you can imagine, despite all of my involvement, something was still lacking in my Jewish activism. It was after I left AIPAC and moved to a new apartment in this area that I sought a new outlet for my involvement in Jewish life. It was as simple as this. I needed a new mezuzah for my new office and my apartment, and knowing of Chabad's generosity, I reached out to Rabbi Tenenbaum for a mezuzah. Little did I know that one brief phone call would change my life. As you may know, Rabbi Tenenbaum has limitless amounts of energy. I was immediately drawn in by his charisma and his ability to always make time for his congregants. I felt at home at the Chabad of Hewlett in a way that I had never felt anywhere else before. Because giving back and building community matters personally to me, I took the initiative to start a young Jewish professionals group here in Hewlett. With the help of the rabbi and the Rebbitzin, we successfully hosted our first Chabad Young Jewish Professionals event this summer, engaging many brand new and some familiar faces from throughout this community. The Chabad of Hewlett gave me an outlet to continue my pro-Jewish activism, work to build community, and give back to others. Together, we are stronger, and together, we can grow and create something much bigger than ourselves. Because something special is happening here in Hewlett. We have a unique opportunity, one that comes only once in a generation, to build a vibrant, energetic, and permanent home for Jewish life. If not now, when? And if not us, who? The way I see it, we have no other choice. We have an obligation to roll up our sleeves and dedicate our time, our money, and our energy to build an unbreakable community, one that will grow and flourish for generations to come.
Jacob Shiner, with your warmest round of applause, party people!
I was born in 1977. My parents came just a few weeks before I was born from the former Soviet Union. As many people who had emigrated at that time, they did not have an opportunity to practice Judaism the way that, all of us are fortunate to be able to do in the here and the now. So it was always very important for my parents that their children not only got a great education, but that they got a great Jewish education. And they were determined to send myself and later on my sister to yeshiva. But my education was always somewhat lacking because of mostly the lack of community that these schools and the congregations that we are part of unfortunately did not provide. I really love Judaism and I really love learning Torah. It was definitely one of my favorite classes. And I remember it was Pesach and I told my family that I was going to host the Pesach dinner and I was going to read the Haggadah, which I did in English. I then read it in Hebrew or maybe vice versa. And then I continued to translate it into Russian. So needless to say, the first time that my family took a bite of food was probably around midnight, and I was banned from ever hosting Pesach again. So I believe that I met Rivki at a challah bake. At that time, to be quite honest, I was part of another congregation. I was even a Hebrew teacher there at the time, but I felt that there was always something missing. It really was not the right place for my family and I. And so I attended this challah bake that I was invited through a friend who had already met the rabbi and Rivki and started participating, and it was amazing. I remember I brought my children to that as well, and not only did I have a beautiful opportunity to bake challah, but it was really an amazing opportunity to meet other members of this community that were just as like-minded and wanted to engage and study Judaism and participate. So at first, I really just started attending events with my family, and I remember the Hanukkah parties and other, sponsored events. And as the years went by, I joined a group of other community members that were volunteers. And there's always ample opportunity, and so we got involved with coordinating the Hanukkah events, and I helped my friends who sponsor the Purim event organize the volunteers, get other children from the community involved. Even simple things like helping other community members came from my association with Chabad. I remember having to take an elderly gentleman who was a Holocaust survivor to a doctor's appointment. And I know that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the Chabad house, but it was through this affiliation and through other fellow volunteers that I was able to help others in the community. And that's really what's important. I redid my bat mitzvah, although I was very fortunate to have a bat mitzvah. As I grew older, I joined a group of women from the community that wanted to be bat mitzvah, and so we studied Torah with Rivki and learned and had a ceremony, which was very special to me. Another thing was Rivki studied with my two daughters and my niece for their bat mitzvah and got them ready, and helped me organize the most special ceremony right here at the Chabad house in the Sukkah, and that was truly incredible. So there's always opportunities. I know that, when Rabbi and Rivki call, people come running, and I really feel fortunate to be part of that group that has continued to sponsor, donate, volunteer, help in any way that I can. So I really urge, all the community members here and the younger generations to get involved, to volunteer, to sponsor, to donate, to contribute to the incredible building campaign that we have going on right now, because that new Chabad house is not a structure. It's a home. It's a home away from home for many members of this community. It will be a place to study, to celebrate, to come together, to really feel like you're part of the community. And that is what Chabad has given me. As I mentioned, they're just like I'll come running for them. Rabbi and Rivki have always been there for my family, and that is something that I will never forget. I am so grateful and appreciative to them, and I'm so grateful and appreciative for everything that they continue to do for our community.
Please help me welcome to the stage Rosanna Zemlansky.
Life is good, life is great. It's a chance to celebrate. It's a party, it's a ball, and ain't nothing gonna get me down at all.
L'chaim, to each and every one of you, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Michael El Chael, from strength to strength, continue to grow, and Torah and mitzvot.